happens to be no other than the 30th of January 2024. Man, just one more day to go and we are done with the month of January. Talk about time flying. Well, this particular month does fly literally. I hope you're catching along with this one, though. Hope you made your plans, by the way, because hey, time to say waits for nobody. Well, interestingly, I'm not here alone, of course, as usual. I'm here with the precious of the Psalms, the voices of the maestros.
Now you savvy.
Okay.
But I like the fact that you said January is almost over because normally we hear that January has about 91 days,
No.
107 days.
Well,
But this
after the
time
subsidy,
around,
I think yeah, had to, the DNA was
you
altered.
have to respect itself.
Yeah, apparently. Anyway, guess what now? If you check the time right now, it says 23 minutes to the hour 9 o'clock. And we're about to bring a conversation that was yesterday, and that was looking at the local government autonomy as it concerns Nigeria. Honestly, there's been lots of talks about this particular one. One part of the table says, hey, state governments are fighting against the autonomy because the joint account has become something which they draw from that state governments now for their own benefits and more or less leaving local government chairmen under their total control. Now that's one end of the stick. Now at the other end as well, many people are saying that look, if local governments stand on their own, then they would have the power to determine exactly what they want. For example, who becomes the local government chairman? Many people have said, look, the position of the chairman has been won without debate. Even though they're elections, they're not re-elections, really.
They're not competitive.
Exactly, because of the lack of autonomy. So, today we'll have a guest with us this morning. One person who plays his game pretty well in the local scene here in Cross River State and also on the primary level as well, in our local governments as well. He is no other person than Comrade Okorobi ACN. I mean, a friend that has, I don't understand, bro, man. Oh, you just fascious. Alpha, man. Good morning to you. Good to
Good
see you
morning.
again.
Thank you, Bison. When you call me comrade, it takes me back to school days.
Okay.
Because that was the last time I was called Congress. or comrade, rather.
Okay, good morning and welcome. Yes, good to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you, Precious Ukurebi.
Oh, okay.
Just in case you're wondering where that came from, there's been a long conversation behind the scene, about Precious and how he can remember Precious's name and all that kind of stuff.
Voila. Okay, no problem. Let's move to local government. Yeah.
Okay.
So just help us have an understanding for the benefit of the person listening and hearing autonomy. Yes, we know, okay, different, but then help us put two and two together. Yes, what exactly is local government autonomy? Does it mean we should not even hear of it in the state? We shouldn't hear of it on the national level? What exactly is it? Let's start from there.
So, good morning, listeners. Well, looking at Nigeria, Nigeria as a governing body has three tiers of governance. We have the federal government controlled by the president and the national legislature who are the senators and the House of Reps members. Then we have the states controlled by the governors and the House of Assembly members. Then we also have the other third tier, which is the local government chairman and the councillors of the local government legislative council. So that is what the constitution says. But over the years, we've seen, and if you look at it critically, the federal government operates its own account, where all resources from the nation across states are gathered and the federal government allocated accordingly to each of the states, and not just the state, but they also allocated to the 774 local governments. So over the years, I don't know if it's constitutional, but state government have been able to gradually control the resources of the local government, especially the ones that comes from the federal government. So they systematically created a joint account and told the federal government, okay, if you are paying these monies to local government, pay into this account, where in that account, the state government has access to that account as well as the local government. So when they say autonomy now, they are looking at that separation between the state government and the local government. Just like the federal government cannot access monies that belong to the state government, cannot determine how the state government controls their resources or their money. The same way, they want the local government to also have full autonomy without influence or undue influence from the state governors. So I think basically, so the local government council will now decide how it manages its resources, how it manages its affairs without undue interference or unnecessary interference from the governors of each of these states. I think that is the best I can go in defining what local government autonomy is.
Looks like okay. So interestingly, right, this conversation actually came up again on the 28th of January, just a few days back now. But it would interest you to know, our dear listener, that this conversation was even had all the way back in March of 2022,
22, yes.
right? So there's an article which from Premium Time which said Senate passes bill as a then Senate passes bill to grant local government financial and administrative autonomy. Now it goes on to say that in the bill, each local government council is to create and maintain its own special account to be called local government allocation account, into which all their allocations will be paid. And legislations also mandate each state to pay to local government councils in its area of jurisdiction such proportion of its internal generated revenue on such terms and in such manner as may be prescribed by the House of Assembly. Now, for administrative autonomy, the bill seeks to allow local governments to conduct their own elections. Also, lastly, we had the lawmakers also voted in favor of financial autonomy for state houses of assembly and all that. Now, during the votes, the Senate witnessed 73 votes, and then the threshold required for such bills to be passed. Now, that was in March 2022. We're in 2024. What? Why? What is the problem? What's holding it? What's the traffic?
Okay, so
why is it so critical?
For me, the first time I heard of this autonomy stuff was not even in 2022.
Okay.
I remember, was it either 2018 or 2019? That's when it first came up, to my understanding. And I remember vividly at Cultural Center there was a stakeholders forum conducted by the State House of Assembly, where citizens were to give their input on this bill, the local government autonomy. It was three bills we're looking at: local government autonomy, House of Assembly autonomy, and also the judiciary. So surprisingly, in here at the Cultural Center in Cross River State, they voted, House of Assembly members voted against the autonomy of the House of Assembly and the autonomy of the local government. I was there present as a journalist covering that event here in Cross River State. So it has been this back and forth. And you know that I'm amending this bill. The 36 houses of assembly of the nation will give their input. So it is the overall, when out of 30, if out of 36, let's say 30 or the majority houses that passes this bill, I think gives the National Assembly strength to not enact that law. So it has been off and on till this 2022. And the truth of the matter is, if you look at the way state governments operate the finances of the local government, it will be difficult for any state government or any state governor to say, okay, let us allow the local government system become autonomous, especially in Cross River State. I'm using my state.
Okay, why exactly?
Okay, why I say especially in Cross River State? For the past 8 years, we keep hearing we don't have money, that we are owing so much, and that there's so much that is being deducted at source. So, and in short, at some point, they even tell that there are some months where we receive zero from the federation account. So, and you keep saying that bills are still being paid, salaries are being paid, and hardly did you hear that for the past 8 years there was civil servants were owed. So, and you keep asking yourself where this money is coming from. Actually, it was the local government accounts that were being used to finance most of this. So with that, now with the limited resources the state was receiving, so it will be difficult for any state government, especially in Cross River State. I don't know as at now what our finances are, but as at then when we were always complaining that we had zero allocation and all that. So it was difficult for us to say, okay, let us not have access to the local government account again. But I think that was not actually legal, and it wasn't the right thing. But I'm just telling you as humans and how the governors were thinking then, because that was the only source they thought they could actually lay hold on and do some of the projects and do some of the things they were doing. But with the new law now, I think it will make a lot of these governors think outside the box.
So, how important is local government? Because we know that they are closer to the
To the
people,
people, yeah.
yes, to those in the rural areas. And now, there's been talks that Nigeria, even this year, we're going to be 64 after independence, but we can't really point to anything concrete that we've had. Would you think that because of the problem at the grassroots level, we've not necessarily been able to grow to this? Do you think it has any correlation?
Yeah, someone will always say that if you want to know your strength, that your weakest in a team, your weakest person in that team is the level of your strength. So our local government system in Nigeria is the weakest because of this autonomy stuff. I remember them growing up. My uncle then used to be a councillor. And as a councillor, there were some projects he actually handled. That was in 93, 91, and all that. So culverts in the council and all those stuff, some road maintenance, and so councillors were able to carry out this project. But over the years, for the past 8 or 16 years, I doubt any councillor have been able to carry out any tangible project in their council ward. Talk more of even the local government chairman himself. They find it so difficult to execute most of these projects. Back then in school, we used to have local government bursaries coming from chairman of council. But for some years now, it is no more because there are limited resources. Well, I don't know how true, but I heard that in the past administration they were giving, was it 5 million naira every month to run the council. So whatever comes into the local government stuff was collected by the state, and just about 5 million or thereabout, if I'm correct, was given to them to run the council. So with that bigger amount, you see that they will find difficult to create any impact at the local government level, and it weakens the system. It weakens the system automatically. So with what is happening now, I think our local government system will become stronger, and that was some of the fears some of these governors had, that if the local government system becomes stronger, and they will not be able to have absolute control over the system, especially during elections and other decisive issues.
Well, let's see how this one pans out actually, because we haven't gotten any definite affirmation yet. The matter has been revisited, and
Well,
we
with
trust.
with what is happening now, I think from what I'm hearing, INEC will now be in charge of conducting elections,
elections.
in the local, and it's going to be a very good thing. So elections now at the local government level will be competitive.
Yeah, because that doesn't go to my next question as to what exactly could be the benefits, for local governments and becoming autonomous. Should that be the end result of this particular process?
Okay.
What do you see as the benefits for our local governments?
Well, first, like I said, it gives the local government administrators enough power to execute and carry out projects, to also strengthen and develop the local government system. And if you look at our local government areas, they are dead. No project except the state governors have or you find favor with the state governor, and some projects that are captured in the state budget that will cater for projects in your local government. So there are some small roads, there are some gutters, there are some culverts, there are some market stalls that were supposed to be done by this local government system. But every local government chairman that go there sits down there doing nothing, just collecting their salaries and interest and all that, because there's absolutely nothing to be done, and there's no money to even do anything. So except there are some that are creative to get partners to think outside of the box, but statutory, they find themselves in a very miserable situation where they just go there and get whatever they can get for themselves without impacting on the system and on the people. But with this now, I think we'll be able to hold them accountable. We're able to tell them, okay, so and so amount of money was released to your local government area. So what did you do with it? But before now, we could not hold these local government um, administrators accountable because they will all tell you that the monies never got to them. So with what will be happening now, I think citizens can now hold their local government administrators accountable. Councillors who can hold them accountable and all that. So for now, councillors and local government chairman were more or less appointees. You just go there, occupy that office, and get your salaries, get whatever is due you for the next 2 3 years, and you go there. And the governor appoints new sets that do what they call elections and all. So I wonder how you see that 18 local government chairmen, all from one party, no competition, nothing. Then all the local government councillors, no. So it makes them relax. It makes them
But
feel sure.
do you think that would really change? Because I mean,
To an extent.
we have governors who many people say have of the same political party with the person who could likely win, because normally there's that tendency for alignment, right? Even in the elections for benefits, right, for the people, right? And I mean, we're seeing what's happening in Rivers State. We're seeing Wike, his FCT minister, but today up until now, he still has a large grip on the assembly when it comes to State House of Assembly in Rivers State. And do you think that could be the same case, whereby yes, even if you're autonomous, you're free, you have your free will, but as governor, some people might still reach out their hands and control things.
Okay, remember in was it 1999 or thereabout, during Donald Duke's administration? I remember there were some local government chairmen who stood up to him, the likes of the Daniel Asuko of Akankwa, the likes of the late Prince Okonoyo of Akpabio. Some of those people of these guys stood up to him because they knew their right. They knew their, in short, they had access to their funds, and it was after that that they now started crumbling the local government system. So what I'm trying to say, it may be the same business as usual, but it's not going to be 100%. So there's going to be a little difference. So even if the governors are trying to exert some authority, but with some level of caution, because they know that these people have, in short, if the money comes to the local government chairman, it is their money. You have no access into it, and also there's going to be some level of caution. Then for the election itself, now it's not going to be conducted by the state electoral body. It's going to be conducted by INEC. We all saw what happened in 2023 elections, where about 60% of those elections were retrieved by the courts. Of those victories were retrieved by the court. So it's still the same thing. If for any reason the state governors or the party in the state try to mess up with the system, the other party now has a better chance, a better opportunity to go to court, because the elections were not conducted by somebody appointed by the state governor, and all the persons in charge of the election process, most of them are even party members of the governors. You understand? So, but with this now is conducted by a neutral body, a perceived neutral body to an extent, compared to where it was conducted by people appointed by the state governor.
So my question is in this same line, but slightly different. It's one thing to clamor for autonomy. It's another thing to have the capacity to actually sustain it. So would you say that at the local government levels, we have this capacity to say, okay, this is your money, right? If peradventure this actually works out fine, and then they will be able to do the work that the people will feel at that grassroots level.
Okay, how did we know that governors would be able to do the work that the people in the state wanted? Because we tried it. How did we know that presidents will be able to control the entire country? Nigeria is too large. Nigeria is almost as big as maybe if put some 5 countries together. So if one person can sit and control all this, then let's give this people an opportunity. But the truth, just like you said, I know there are some negative side of it, especially when it has to do with control of resources. So some persons may go wild, may go crazy, because when such amount of money comes and you know it is at your disposal and another. But I think the law that is creating this autonomy will also put in some checks and balances to ensure that this doesn't become a normal stuff, and it is abused.
Okay, so interestingly, right, part of this adjustment, the amendments being made, also also looked into the matter of immunity for governors and for presidents as well,
Okay.
which did not change.
Mhm.
What do you feel about this? I mean, let's borrow a leaf now from other countries. For example, America, for example. Well, Bill Clinton was president. He was impeached. I mean, he had to leave office. Some would even say, I mean, he had to even step down literally by himself. But then he was able to be taken to court, right, as a person.
As a person.
Yes, but with the immunity which we have seen in Nigeria, do you think it is healthy for the country,
Well,
for our governors and presidents?
the immunity clause in our constitution is for me, I think it is improper, because I know it was there to serve a purpose because of maybe unnecessary, let me use the word unnecessary, dragging of leaders when to trying to disrespect them when they are wearing that gown of governor or president or whatever. Then you want to dishonor them because of one or two personal issues. But keep that aside. If the person, whether he's wearing the gown of Jesus Christ or the gown of second God, and he has not behaved as that second God, I think he should go for it. So whether he's wearing that gown or not, so the immunity clause in our constitution should be removed. Let everybody be. We are all equal. The law prescribes that we are all equal in this country. So let everybody be equal to that extent. If you mess up in any area, then go for it. You should be able to, either as a governor, as a president, or even as a local government chairman. If you are found guilty or you are found wanting, then you should go for it. The immunity clause should be removed immediately, and you should serve the term.
Okay, well, you feel we're ready for that right now because I mean, some people will say that Nigeria, as it is right now, there's so much polarity
There's
that
there's
it might
there's
just disturb the office
there's
of
so
leadership.
much we think we are not ready for, because we have not been able to do the right thing. Nigeria is too large, it's too big to be controlled by one person at the center. If we must remain as Nigeria, I keep saying, then we should be a true confederation where we allow the federating states to have control of their resources and contribute to the center. So with that, it will reduce most of this tension and agitations.
Okay. Well, interesting. We're having a conversation here with Koribi Sin, who is a friend of the station and also a political analyst, as socio-political, I guess that will put in the wider spectrum there. Looking at, first of all, we looked at the matter of this local government autonomy, given the fact that this matter has been revisited, even though, well, like we've discussed, it came up 2022 in March. It was supposedly passed, but then again, we didn't see the enactment of it. And then again, it had come up a lot earlier. And going back in time up to 1999, when these conversations began, where local governments lost immunity there. But let's see how this one pans out. There are lots of benefits on especially for the local governments. But then again, there's also the concerns too. If that much power is given to the local government chairman, then
It will actually create
what is to
jobs.
come?
It will create jobs.
So
It will give a lot of persons opportunity to function at the local government level. And
yeah.
this issue of lack of jobs and all that, and it will also give development, especially agricultural development. So the local government system can finance and fund a lot of projects, especially when it comes to agriculture and people-centered project. In Crossville, we say we are running a people first government. So if it's truly a people first government, then we should allow the people at the grassroots take control and take charge of their resources and their system.
All right. Okay. Interesting one.
There's always this fear of, when someone has power, that they actually follow through with what they said they would do. That's a big concern. But like you said, how would we know if you don't try it out? Yeah. So let's see how this one pans out. I think, Emmanuel, this is how far we can go for the conversation. Thank you, Corey, for joining us this morning. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
And we'll be seeing more of you
I
this
hope
new
so.
year. We've not told you Happy New Year. Oh my God. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and have a lovely, lovely Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so that is the conversation that we were supposed to bring to you yesterday, but definitely we